Listen, I hate to do this. I feel like I've kept these relatively positive. But Buzz City, as they call it, aka Charlotte, North Carolina, basketball team there. It's not looking good. It's looking, they might be kind of effed. For being completely honest here. When you take a look at this roster, got kind of collection of up and coming young guys ish, two of which really haven't played in the NBA yet, and then you take in the guys they recently drafted. And then you got some guys who are kind of the tail end of their prime, injury riddled. And then you have two or three like decent role players who might be able to contribute on a winning team, but like what are they doing here? And so that's not ideal. And things that are also not ideal are the legal issues now that Miles Bridges is involved in. Not sure what's going on there. Not sure he will maybe ever receive an NBA contract, at least for the foreseeable future. And so, it seemed like the Horns were kind of building this offseason to figure out the best way to pay him and incorporate him into their cap and whatnot. That's definitely thrown a wrench in those plans, and so that leaves a hole. Kind of, you counted on Miles Bridges. If he did sign something, you're looking at 4 or 5 more years with Miles Bridges as your, power forward, coming off his best season by far. And now that's gone. Can't trade him. And so that sucks just for everyone involved. And then, Montrezl Harrell's also in some legal stuff, but I don't know if he would resign anyway, but that just also is weird. And so now it's like, all right, if I'm Charlotte going forward, like what's the move here? Kind of the idea was floated to do a Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward for Westbrook. I think, hopefully you throw at least a first, maybe get the 2 firsts, as kind of just a franchise reset in terms of, those kind of older players. You get Westbrook and his $47 million for this year. That goes away after the season. You have some cap space to work with, see what you can do next offseason, and try and, rebuild around LaMelo Ball. So, you have that piece. You have, the Kelly Oubre piece. You have, they brought back Cody Martin. Whether those guys you could flip for something or add as kind of a sweetener in a deal, sure. Mason Plumlee, just an expiring contract. I don't know. Probably would be surprised if he ends up just, on the Hornets again. And then you have the PJ Washington piece that it's like, is he a guy you want to bring back? Is he someone you trade before you have to pay him? Not sure what the market is for him specifically as kind of an undersized power forward-ish guy. And now it's kind of like, all right, well, what do we have in our recent draft picks? And it's like, well, we really haven't seen any of these Hornets picks play in the NBA. When you look at James Bouknight and Kai Jones, Jalen McDaniels shows some promise, I guess. So whether they can kind of fill this void and give us a little more hope in Charlotte, sure. And then you have, the most recent draft picks, Mark Williams, Bryce McGowens. I think Mark Williams, just from the jump, will probably, he's going to be great defensively as a rim protector. Obviously, huge wingspan, just brings, athleticism, height, kind of more of a traditional center, doesn't really stretch the floor or anything like that. But I think, having him instead of Mason Plumlee at the rim, hopefully there'll be less posters in Charlotte on the defensive end. I feel like there probably will be. But that's not like a stat that is recorded. But I feel like, Mark Williams probably won't get dunked on as much as Mason Plumlee. So you have that. But also as, a lob threat, is pick and roll with LaMelo. Kind of excited to see how they incorporate Mark Williams. Bryce McGowens, who knows, is a second-round pick, but hopefully is also someone who can contribute, because if they do kind of go franchise reset, he'll probably have the opportunity to play some serious minutes. And I feel like LaMelo Ball is the kind of guy you'd want to play with, and hopefully we'll get other guys involved in looks and kind of remain competitive, because like he's the best player on this team, and even in his early 20s, that's a lot to ask of anyone. They're coming off as a 10 seed. Like, where are we going? Do we feel good about this young core, if we can call it? Because there's a lot of young cores below them in the standings that I'd feel better about than Charlotte at 10, even though LaMelo could be a perennial all-star going forward. Is he kind of going to be the good player on a bad team guy for the foreseeable future? Right now, it kind of looks like it is going that direction, unless they can either tank and pair a top 5 pick with him, or free up cap space. Not sure how many free agents are going to love to go to Charlotte, but maybe playing with LaMelo can convince somebody. And then it's like, all right, so can we then compete? And I think LaMelo as a point guard, got to be excited about that. But then maybe Mark Williams you can slate in there for the next 5 years. And then on the wings, it's like, all right, what are we doing here? So, because even the rookies, other than Bryce McGowan, they don't really have a ton of youth on the wings. So, I don't know, man. After Michael Jordan, I don't know, has proven just in his stretch in Charlotte's not been great. Drafting, just trades, just nothing's been signings. Gordon Hayward, whole thing, I understand you have to overpay to get him to a small market. The injury-prone stuff was already there. I think it was kind of too quickly. Let's be a little more patient. Let's build this. It's really hard to kind of try and flash forward with these rookies and, sophomores in terms of LaMelo Ball and trying to win with them immediately. Like, you have some time. Like, they want to get their numbers. They're not yet understanding, like, how to win, And Minnesota kind of did that now with Rudy Gobert coming in. I feel like the Hornets need to take a breath. LaMelo, you kind of already wasted like some time with him, but that's fine. Let's try and get these young guys going. Let's hit the reset button. Let our guys develop, get a top, hopefully 5 pick next year, and go from there. Because it takes multiple. Like, you can't win, a title based on like 1 or 2 drafts or one guy, building on one guy. Just doesn't work like that. You're going to need multiple picks, multiple assets to have kind of either the assets to trade or to attract a free agent. So that's where Charlotte is. I think you reset the whole thing. Let me know what y'all think. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing in terms of a trade or a move they can make. But the Miles Bridges thing now falling through, you're losing that asset entirely. I think it's time. Hit the reset button and start over in Charlotte, But if you disagree, love to hear the counter argument. And that's going to do it for me for now. Take care of yourselves. Take it easy. And I'll see you next time.